And we have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show. I'm your man behind a microphone, Scholar Jeff. Coming to us remotely, as per regulation, is our man and the current reigning and defending Scholars of Wrestling party champion, Scholar Tarek. How's it going tonight, sir?
I think you should make that more clear. The only champion right now in the Scholars of Wrestling show, since Vakin has taken the Scholars of Wrestling championship and just completely ignored us. Yes, the Scholars of Wrestling party champion. Yes.
And of course, our partner in crime, the one and only, the ever intoxicated Scholar Brian. How's it going tonight, sir?
I'm not that intoxicated.
It's all relative.
No,
But
Brian, you should have just gone. I'm not that intoxicated. Grab a beer.
yeah,
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
but yeah, didn't know what we were going to talk about until Wednesday afternoon.
When, I think we could all collectively use an adult beverage of choice after Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday, Bloody Wednesday. Yes, if you're a fan of the professional wrestling world, there was no escaping the mass layoffs that happened this week. So we're going to talk about all of it and much more sad news and happy memories in this week's edition of a little segment we like to call Backstage News.
Indeed. It looks like we're just going to be peeking behind that curtain this entire episode to talk about a little
Backstage news.
New. I don't know
Say
where we're sitting that.
Yeah, I'm right now just going by how I see you guys. It's like Brian, Jeff, me,
Nikki,
yay!
Mikey.
And then it's going to show up on YouTube, and you're going to be pointing all random fucking areas.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be completely wrong. It's going to be completely wrong.
We'll see how the final product looks. But as far as the major news of the week, yeah, there were some major releases and furloughs and cost-cutting measures across the board from so many talents. Just going down the list of the wrestling talent alone, we've got released as of Wednesday, Drake Maverick, Kurt Hawkins, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Heath Slater, Aiden English, Eric Young, EC3, Leo Rush, Kurt Angle, Sarah Logan, Mike Chioda, Eric Primo and Epico, Eric Rowan, Mike Kanellis, Maria Kanellis, Zack Ryder, No Way Jose, Rusev, Deonna Purrazzo, and Alexander Jasek. That is a mouthful.
And they also got rid of Serena Deeb.
Which, truth be told, I didn't even realize she was still working with the company.
Yeah, it was more in a producer role, so I think that she got furloughed more than released.
But yeah, I was about to say, you only got the on-air talent and the backstage producers who are furloughed, yeah.
Yeah, meanwhile, a whole bunch of producers backstage got furloughed, which, on the lighter side of life, someone actually pointed this out. Hey, isn't it ironic that that Mike Rotunda, IRS, got furloughed on what was supposed to be tax day?
Yeah,
I actually read that too, and my response was just going.
But you know what? It's the lighter side of things. You gotta try to find something to, like, when it's a sad day. You're looking at Twitter. You're just what the hell is going on? As every 5 minutes a new name comes down the pipeline, and then you see that on your Twitter timeline, and it's just like, oh, that's actually kind of funny. Oh, hold on. Oh, yeah.
On that note, let's rewind and let's talk about your initial reactions and the and this the in the moment reactions of how you saw it and how you experienced these mass layoffs, because they seem to come out in waves. What was your guys' experience seeing all this happen in real time?
Well, for me, it was more kind of in response to Brian pretty much messaging both of us about what's going on. I'm honestly, I was at work. I'm just basically being lazy. I'm doing work, and I look at the message saying, "Oh well, at least now we have some news to talk about." And all of a sudden, I'm like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And then I go on my Facebook, and I'm just seeing a list of people getting these releases, and I'm just going, "Wait, what?" And then I just keep looking, and more names are dropping, more names are coming in, getting released, and I'm just going, "What the did I miss?" And just now looking into it and seeing the whole, like, Vince McMahon giving the video call that was only about 5 minutes, and just saying that you're gonna get you're pretty much getting a text message or a phone call about what your position's gonna be. That's honestly a scary thought. And then I think the part where it hit the most, where it hit the hardest, is Drake Maverick's video response to it, and just seeing how broken he was, and talking about how he's still in the interim NXT Cruiserweight Championship tournament, and so the possibility these may be his last 3 matches. And then it just it really hit me hard. Out of all, like, the releases that were being announced, yeah, those were hit. That one hit hard for me. And then just seeing people's response to it, and Bray Wyatt's response to it with just one word, yuck. And then this is a very, very, very disgusting situation that WWE is basically unnecessarily putting themselves into. Like, even more learning about this. This is a position that they didn't have to do, but they did it anyway. More just not really giving a shit about their wrestlers and their talent. It's just finding an easy way for a quick buck to gain more revenue, and it left a very disgusting taste in my mouth.
Yeah, because here's the deal. It's actually disgusting on two levels here. Okay, because let's go back a day before any of this happened. Okay, it comes out that the Florida Police Department had to come and shut down the Performance Center while they were taping a couple times while they were trying to get content ready for WrestleMania. So Vince McMahon is trying to figure out a way to make the WWE essential work, an essential service. Okay, and then it comes out, well, the governor of Florida announces that the WWE is an essential service because people want content, and the WWE is willing to give them content. Which at that point, it's like, okay, fine, whatever, because nothing else had come out yet. It's like, fine, whatever, still being stupid, but it's legal now, so whatever. And then about an hour later, it comes out that Linda McMahon had basically, when you think about it, it's an $18 million bribe to a super PAC kind of deal for
exactly what it was
for Trump's upcoming campaign, which is like, okay, now we're talking about ethics here. We know that the McMahons have a fucked up sense of business ethics. They always have. So it's like, okay, whatever. It's like, this is kind of weird. This is going in a bad direction, but this is WWE. This is how it's always worked. So it's like, okay, whatever. And then the next round, noon, Wednesday, the Twitter starts getting word of a conference call that went out that said that there were going to be layoffs. Now, they made a financial, they had a financial meeting last month, and everything leaked, as it does. Okay, they have $500 million worth of backup cash reserves.
That, honestly, not to necessarily jump to conclusions here, but that I've keep hearing conflicting reports about, where it's not necessarily 500 million in just liquid cash assets. It's, from what I've been hearing, it's actually the sum total of the cash they've got on hand, and the vast majority of it is just like a line of credit that they can take out in case of an emergency. How much they actually have in liquid cash assets, I I really don't know. I've been hearing as much as 90 million to like a couple million. So
But
I
here's
really don't know what the truth is at this point.
but here's what comes out today after everything goes down. Okay, those wrestlers' salaries. Okay, the furloughs. Okay, the furloughs are coming everywhere. So in every company that you know, okay, furloughs are going down. So that's to be expected. Furloughs, yes. Okay, but the wrestlers that they got rid of, it actually came out today that all 20 of them, okay, are worth $4 million total. These are independent contractors who, at this point in time, cannot get work anywhere else in their field because nobody's running shows, nobody's doing any of that because of what's going on. Now, and this goes back to when the WWE started hoarding the talent so that they couldn't go anywhere else. They've signed these guys to these contracts. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, 5-year contracts, $500,000 a year.
Same with Mike and Maria, 5-year contracts. Yeah.
So they wouldn't go to that brand new company that's right across the pond, and they wouldn't go over there. They signed them, and it looks really bad on the WWE when furloughs started happening a month ago. Okay, they waited until now when everything was shut down to be like, we don't need you anymore. And you're not getting furloughed because you're an independent contractor. You're not an employee of the WWE. So we're going to let you go. We're going to give you this nice little cash settlement, whatever. And then because of what's going on right now, you're not going to be able to find work until this is over. So even if they only have $90 million in liquid cash assets, first of all, that's still more than enough to pay these people their salaries and keep them on the books. Second of all, okay, it's a bad look all around.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
None of this. None. As I said, furloughed employees, that was coming down the pipeline no matter what. Okay, because that's every major corporation. My dad works for Disney. He got furloughed. So it's like, and it's Disney. They'll never not make money. So that's it. So it's what it is. So and the WWE, no matter what they do, okay, they're still projected to make a profit this year. Yeah, they lost WrestleMania revenue, they're gonna lose Saudi Arabia revenue because that's not gonna be back before the next show. That's it. So they're gonna lose that, but it's like they're still projected to make a profit. So and now you're bookmarked as an essential service. You're able to work. Okay, you're able to put content out there. Okay, you flew No Way Jose and Sarah Logan out to be on TV for a minute, and then 2 days later you fire them. That's it. I'm like, this is a bad look. It's a bad look. It makes the WWE look bad. It makes them look worse than they ever have. That's it. And that's saying a lot. That's it.
Fool, you got something else?
Pretty much Brian just took the words right out of my mouth. It just makes WWE, makes Vince McMahon just look like pretty much a human being that just does not give a shit about his talent. It just makes me look at what like the other wrestling companies are trying to do, especially the like people in Japan working with the government to make sure that their talent is still getting paid, is still getting money to survive. When you look at WWE now, they're just doing it and they're just tossing talent out on the sides. Like, oh, I'm sorry that now you have nowhere else to go. Bye. And there's no way of you guys getting an income now, considering all the other companies are down, and we have to do our best to keep us an essential business instead of trying to pre-record your shows because you're nervous of what USA and Fox are going to do. It's like because you have only a specific number of pre-recorded episodes that you can really air on their networks, and you would just think, well, maybe the right idea is to try, because of what's going on in the world, that you would try and basically talk to them to work some kind of deal during this whole pandemic. But no, they didn't do anything like that. You would think that they would, but
yeah, I think that's
now
one.
Now you're having 3 live shows a week. Each week you're bringing your talent from all over the country in to record and basically put them in risk. Especially someone like Jerry the King Lawler, who's 70 years old, who's had a heart attack. You're putting people like him at risk. That's
also,
why
you can keep your profit margin. Also, you can keep your profit margin the way it's supposed to be at the beginning of the year. You're trying to keep that. It's like, dude, okay, you're the WWE. You're gonna make a profit no matter what.
And even if they did that, they wouldn't lose anything. It's not like they're in financial trouble. Like you said, Brian, it's WWE. They're in a good spot financially. They're just doing this basically for them and basically tossing their talent out to the side, basically they're tossing them out to basically starve themselves. They can't get money to provide for themselves and their families. So it's once again, it just makes them look bad, and it just makes you look like, is it really just like, is it how far of the higher ups, or is it just mainly like a Vince McMahon decision?
And
it's just a McMahon family, because really, like, you don't hear Stephanie or Triple H talking about any of this. Like, there's not a peep from them, and they're pretty much the next in line, and they're next in line, and yeah, they won't, because it's now Vince is getting awarded by Trump as one of the advisors of when to decide the economy should be put back in line. It's just pretty much just more disgusting looks at the Vince McMahon person, and it just, again, now it's every time that, like, it makes my skin crawl to think about what basically this company has been doing to its talent, just showing that they don't give a shit.
All right. And this is probably more of a me thing, me personally. Have had the belief for very long period of time that not this show, but we as a people, especially on social media, it's very easy to just react to things. It's very easy to just go for the gut and just like put it out there, boom. So it's sort of a learned thing for me that I never like to just react to anything at face value, no matter who it is. Like, what do I mean by that? Whenever I hear something crazy happening, my first, I have gotten in the habit of wanting to get more information. Because let's face it, yeah, this is not a good look. Yeah, this is really not, it makes no sense by any of the metrics that we're talking about. It makes no sense. So, whether this is a misguided step or not, I really wanted to take a step back and not rush to conclusions. Because let's face it, we're not looking at the numbers. We're not behind the curtain. We're not on the board. The last names do not end in McMahon or Levesque. So we're not going to know. Is it a good look? No. Are the numbers really what the earlier reports are? Maybe they are, maybe they're not. So I think that's where my initial reaction of just not wanting to dogpile on WWE or any of the higher ups in particular, even though, hell, I'm probably never going to meet any of them or work for them for that matter. But ultimately, my point is this. I personally feel like something's not adding up for me personally. I don't really know what it is, but if it's just a cost-cutting measure, maybe it's pressure from stockholders, maybe it's someone else on the board, maybe it is really Vince McMahon in charge of making this kind of decision. I don't know.
But here's where I'm coming from. I was in your boat yesterday before what came out today came out.
Mhm.
But I was just like, oh, this is a bad look. They're releasing people even though they've become an essential service. They become an essential business, and then they start firing people. That's weird. What's going on here? What's the deal? And then numbers did come out. Okay, the numbers came out today. Today is Thursday. We're recording this on Thursday. Numbers came out today that said, and it's not like they're cost cutting for employees of the company, which are the people who work in the office, the producers, whatever. They're getting furloughed, so they'll be back by the beginning of July. So it came out that the furlough date is July 1st. So it's like they're not getting paid, but they're still getting benefits for what they still technically have a job. They're just not getting paid for it. They're getting the benefits, they're getting everything they need so that they can weather the next couple months. That's all well and good, that's fine. Whatever. But these wrestlers, they're independent contractors. Okay, they're not employees of the WWE. They signed contracts. Okay, and the WWE waited until they were deemed an essential business to be like, okay, all this talent that we're not actually using to the best of their ability, we've been paying them money to sit around and do nothing so that they won't go anywhere else. Okay, and now that they can't go anywhere else, we're going to let them go. Okay, and then it comes out today that all of that would have been $4 million this year. Is the WWE. Vince McMahon's a billionaire. Okay, no matter how much liquid cash assets you have, it's the WWE. You can pay these people what they're owed. Okay, that's it. It's so it's like I understand the want to step back, not jump to conclusions, then and try to figure stuff out. But everything that's coming out right now, okay, it's transparent. There's nothing. Everything that's behind the scenes right now is coming out. So it's hard to step back and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins. Okay.
I did hear he said something, but I didn't hear what it was that he said.
I agree with half of it. I agree with half of it when he was actually talking about the wrestlers, like we have to stand together, like be in a locker room, like be in a locker room leader. I'm like, okay, Seth, you got it right this time. And then he continued, and he was like,
"What was it that he said?"
I don't understand why everyone's getting mad at the WWE. I'm like, no, stop it! You were doing so well. And now we're back to the summer of Seth. So
yeah,
it's one of those. As I said, it's hard to step back. It's hard to think about it rationally because everything that comes out, when you're trying to think about it rationally, and then something new comes out, that it's like, oh, these 20 wrestlers would have made $4 million in total this year. All 20 of them combined would have made $4 million this year. And you're the WWE. You have all this money. Vince McMahon's a billionaire. Why can't you throw some of your cash in there? It's like it's bad. No matter how you look at it, and there's no for me. There's no trying to sugarcoat it. And be like,
well, again, I know for a fact this is a highly unpopular opinion, and that may change in the next couple days or so. But I'm just not quite there yet. I still feel like either Seth is a complete corporate stooge in every single sense of the word, or maybe there's some other factors that we just don't know about that went into this decision. Not saying even if we find it out, does it still make it the right decision? More than likely not. But it's, I don't know, consider me still in progress. That being said, however, like you talked about with Drake Maverick and the myriad of other reactions that are coming out. Obviously, all of them are very much heartbreaking, but even so, there almost seems to, at least in certain pockets of those who have been released, there is to me at least, a slight hint of optimism for the future. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm talking about, say, the reaction of, say, EC3, of he was like, yeah, I'm finally free to forge my own destiny here. I'm in the driver's seat. Basically, F y'all, I'm out.
And then, did you see what Carl Anderson put up today?
That was going to be, yes. Within hours, he just posted a video. Yeah, Japan, machine gun, boom. All right.
And then people in the and then wrestlers in the Bullet Club in Japan were like, that didn't really acknowledge the actual video, but they actually posted Bullet Club is always for life. Mm-hmm. So you know what that is. You know what that means. Okay. Yeah. What yesterday really showed me was the camaraderie in the locker room. Mm-hmm. That's what it really showed me, because the amount of wrestlers that were coming out like in to comfort to to basically thank everyone who got released, and to be like, this sucks, and all that. It's nice to realize that, at least in the locker room, it really is like a big family.
Yeah, there is, the fraternity of the wrestling world is certainly alive and well. And there are certain people who have been released that will absolutely have a place. Carl Anderson, like we mentioned, he can go over back to Japan, be a part of the Bullet Club for as long as he cares to, and absolutely tear it up.
With him. The Gallows is going to go with him.
Exactly. So, they have a place to go once everything blows over. He still can coast on WWE bucks for the time being. Presumably, again, we don't know all the facts, but presumably he's got future ahead of him. He'll be okay. Even if I'm not sure if you saw this, but Zack Ryder released a new shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees. Ended up being like, yeah, it's just a shirt that says "not there," and it ended up being the most highest selling shirt of the day. I know, I see that look on your face, fool. But you know what?
You can't deny that the dude knows how to get stuff over.
Yeah, Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, whatever you want to call him, he is Mr. Z True Long Island Story. He can innovate. He can, like his show even said, he can get over. He'll be fine.
Most of these guys will be fine. It's just the fact that all of them dreamed of being in WWE, and for this to be the way it ends, yeah, it sucks.
It's just when it comes to the wrestler aspect and seeing basically the camaraderie of the talent and all that, it is that one light of hope. It's still that black shadow of basically the corporate end of WWE that just, when you look at it in the long run, it's just a bad move pretty much on every sense of the word when it comes to that.
And I also feel like a bunch of these guys are going to be like in a holding pattern. And when this does blow over, like, I can see a bunch of these guys coming right back.
Same. Mm-hmm.
Like they're released for now, but when everything's back to normal, I can see like the WWE signing them to new contracts. Like Heath Slater, come on, man.
Hey man, make it 3 for 3.
Right?
Work yourself up, become a big muscle man, spicing your character up a bit, and you'll be WWE champion in no time.
I don't want to just watching the bump, watching Heath Slater send that message to Drew McIntyre. It made me emotional. And then when Drew McIntyre said what he wanted, I'm like, I want it too. I want Heath Slater to be Drew McIntyre, and I want 3MB. I want a 3MB reunion. I'm like, I want it. Drew McIntyre wants it, therefore I want it. That's it. So that's it.
Speaking on moving to the more positive end of things, again, because I've got crazy sick mind. My first thought, as soon as these kept going, was actually more of an optimistic one, thinking where my first thought was, where can these guys go to just really change themselves, reinvent themselves? Like, obviously, we know Carl Anderson is more like 99% going back to New Japan. Where else? Leo Rush AEW. Yeah, that'll be my next question. Where do you see everyone going?
Rusev's coming back.
Rusev? Do you say Rusev isn't coming back?
No. Rusev's not coming back.
He is not.
Okay.
The man has been unhappy for months. He's pretty much the next Luke Harper.
And I honestly
think he just constantly keep going saying how unhappy he is. He keeps getting in trouble backstage just for pointing out how unhappy he is being in this company. It must have been a glorious day when he got that recall for him.
Well, did you see that tweet? It was just like, thanks, y'all. Rusev.
Rusev out.
I'm like, Yeah, like he was probably waiting by the phone, just like, come on, do it.
Let me go. Let me go. I want to spread out my wings and fly like an eagle.
And I honestly think that when the storyline with Lashley is over, Lana's gonna join him.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that too. Now, as far as where everyone goes, my first two reactions outside of Carl Anderson, obviously, were my first two predictions, rather, were Zack Ryder to AEW and Rusev to NWA. I feel like Rusev would be a perfect fit for NWA, especially in this new era.
And
Instant
I feel
contender for Nick Aldis.
And I feel like Drake Maverick will go back to Impact.
Yeah, I think it would fit in really nicely with this new direction Impact is taking as well.
Honestly, I can see him either doing that or going. He's one of the people who I can actually see coming back, considering like just how much of a WWE guy he's become,
and how everyone
is behind him to come back.
Everyone behind that message. Everyone was commenting on that message. Like he would honestly be welcomed back with open arms. He did everything for that company.
Mm.
He was super excited to get back in the ring, like with Regal, them giving him taking his 205 Live manager position to Regal, since they're pretty much getting rid of 205 Live and merging it with NXT. Yeah, it's just he was basically hungry to get back in the ring, and being in this tournament was just a good look. Was just basically that light at the end of the tunnel for him, and then comes this giant block of bad news thrown from Wade Barrett across the universe.
I've got some bad news.
I can also see Rusev going to Japan. I could see Rusev going to Japan as well. That's I see. Did you see how quickly Joey Janela jumped on Leo Rush? I'm like, Leo Rush is going to do a run of the independents, and I feel like he'll end up in AEW with Joey Janela. And I feel like he's going to be big in that GCW when that comes back. And the AEW scene, he's going to hook up with Joey.
Oh, good, you're back.
And Kip Sabian. I didn't even know I was gone. That's it.
Yeah, your audio distorted for a moment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm on a cell phone. Sue me.
Yeah, but as far as
are sued because
as far as evil
reasons.
As far as other people who I can see going to other places, I can see Sarah Logan going to AEW, joining up with their women's division. Aiden English, I see being NWA bound. I feel like he's a good fit there.
NWA bound. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. That's without a doubt. That's the first thing that popped into my head for him.
Now, here's one that I haven't really been able to quite put my finger on. What about Eric Rowan? I feel like AEW would be a little too on the nose given his recent history. But
wait, what?
Bring the goat match to the Dark Order.
But really, it's like we're joking about it. But really, where does Eric Rowan go? There's Scholars Quick Talk. Where should Eric Rowan go?
I think that with that kind of build that he has, AEW is really in the big man right now. I'm like that. They've got Archer. They've got Brody Lee. It's one of those. Other than AEW, I don't know. I don't know.
Had a thought.
I don't know what fits right now.
I just had a thought right just now, just a second, and I'd like to get your immediate reaction to it. Eric Rowan, New Japan, Bullet Club. Could it work?
I think him and New Japan could work because I think he'd fit into the New Japan style pretty well. It's all hard hitting and all that, and nobody in the WWE hit harder than that dude,
Mhm.
other than Aleister Black. But yeah, I can see him pulling a Moxley thing. Really, I can see him doing a double deal because as I said, AEW is really in the big guys right now. Like that's their niche right now. They're picking up all the big guys, and NJPW is that hard hitting style that he likes, that he uses. I don't know where else he fits in. Like really.
Even with that, I even see him just basically staying in independent circuits. I just basically see him showing up at random event, independent shows. I throughout the entire conversation you guys were having on where he could go, I really can't see him going anywhere.
I
really
just realized
You can't really put a finger on.
I just realized I really
with
want
him. I mean, with other names, like we were just saying, like Aiden English, just like, oh yeah, he's NWA. So and so New Japan, so and so AEW, so and so Impact. I can't think of a goddamn thing for Rowan. He's the one that I'm just
I got something. Consider this: Eric Rowan, Minoru Suzuki. Nothing.
As I said, NJPW, hard hitting.
Y'all are
like
plebs.
If anything, yeah, NJPW, sure.
I think there's promise. I do. Well, no matter what happens in the future, it's even in the midst of all this sadness and tragedy, I think it's been honestly a strangely beautiful thing to see the wrestling world come together and support everyone who's been released, give everyone props, opening doors for them whenever they can. I think it's absolutely beautiful and just to show it's not all bad.
Kurt Angle returns to WWE as Chad Gable's manager. Drop the Shorty G bullshit and just have them be quirky with each other.
There's that
I hate to be the bearer of bad news because we were just talking about good things and being happy and whatever. But did you notice? Gotta bring it up. Okay. I don't think they did any SmackDown cuts.
You really think they'll cut Chad Gable?
I really do.
Oh no.
That's one of those. That's because you said Chad Gable, and I'm like,
well, we'll still see.
He's AEW.
You know what?
Now.
I'll tell you what, that even if there are more cuts to come, which I really don't believe that there will be, even if there are more cuts to come, I think they'll be very well taken care of. Just seeing how the wrestling world has come out to really support everyone else who has lost their jobs already, especially with all the love flowing after the other part of this backstage news, especially that we just got word today that Howard Finkel has passed away at the age of 69.
Oh.
Sorry, I had the best ring announcer. The best ring announcer in any
era
type of not even wrestling. I'm going UFC, I'm going boxing, I'm going like the only one who even comes close is Buffer.
Yeah, Michael Buffer and Howard Finkel are really, when I think of the greatest ring announcers ever, it's just Buffer and Finkel. I got nothing else.
And for me, if you want to get into wrestling, at least at that time, if you wanted to get into fighting, if you wanted to get into wrestling or whatever, the one thing that you wanted to, that it was your fantasy to hear, was Howard Finkel going, and new, that the iconic new champion call. And this is why I put him better than Michael Buffer. Okay, Michael Buffer only did main events. He only did main events in the UFC shows. He only did like the big boxing matches. He didn't do the tiny ones. He didn't do all that. Howard Finkel did the and new for the European Championship. That's it. He did the and new for the Hardcore Championship. He did the and new for the light heavyweight title. I'm like,
he did everything.
The most iconic voice. Okay, maybe not the most iconic line. The most iconic line will always be "Let's get ready to roll." That's the iconic line, but the iconic voice.
It's like in wrestling, there would only be two people you would want involved in your character development, and that's being backstage interviewed by Mean Gene and being announced by Howard Finkel.
Exactly.
Those are the two.
And it sucks because you could see in photos for the last couple years, you knew he wasn't doing well. You knew that the time was coming. It's just like just after yesterday, and with everything going on, and with everything going on right now.
It's just a picture that Tommy Dreamer posted in response.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of those like bad things come in threes, and the third was Howard Finkel. That's it. So it
really was. It's a tragedy. It was a that wasn't real. Like the second I read it this morning, my jaw dropped. I was like, no. Not the Finkel.
It's time to go back into the network and hear those. And hear those iconic calls. That's it.
I already did this afternoon. I went back and watched the debut of Taz at Madison Square Garden against Kurt Angle.
Yeah,
that was fantastic. Now, which brings me to my next topic on happier notes. Do you have any particular good memories you've got of Howard Finkel in particular and all of his many amazing calls?
I have two.
What you got?
When Michelle and I went to Survivor Series at Madison Square Garden, and he came out to announce CM Punk.
Oh, yes, right. I forgot you were there.
Yep.
Oh, that was a cool night.
You were there for that show, and it truly was a spectacular moment. I'm like, the only other time I've ever seen Howard Finkel live was at the SmackDown ECW. Yeah, that's how old this was. The SmackDown ECW house show that Michelle and I went to. We were at front row, and he was there. He was there announcing. And I just remember just yelling, I love you, Howard. And he turns away. He just turns to me and points at me. And I'm like, yeah, I love Howard Finkel. And then going back to that Survivor Series, it's like seeing that live in person, and the crowd going nuts and seeing how emotional he was just fantastic. And then you go and watch it on the show itself, and it was terrible because Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler were basically shitting all over him. Basically running him down, laughing at him, making fun of him. Like, I'm just thinking, wow. Yeah, here's my one. Wow, fuck both of you.
Well, you know that they were just given the order. It was such a
glorious moment for him. You saw the tears building up, and he was just basically backed up on what he was saying. It was just, he was so happy to do it again. And just to call out CM Punk, and it was going nuts. And then CM Punk won the title, starting his giant title reign. It was so great. And just seeing him live a couple times, just great.
Yeah, I can't actually say that I ever saw him live, and that sucks. But the first show I ever watched was WrestleMania, I think it was 14. That was the one with Austin, Michaels, and Tyson. And the one thing I remember from that show is when Austin won, and you get the first time I heard the "and new" from Howard Finkel. I'm like, and that was back when I was really that was the moment where I was like, okay, if I ever become a wrestler, if I ever want to be in this business, I want to hear that guy announce my name. Because
hell yeah,
everyone wants Howard Finkel,
and it would be more. It would be the one between the two of them. If I wanted to be a fighter and hear Michael Buffer, or be a wrestler and hear Howard Finkel. Like I was given I was asked the question once in high school, what would you rather do? Be a fighter and have Michael Buffer announce your name, or be a wrestler and be called a new champion by Howard Finkel? Didn't even think about it for a second. I was like, I want to be a wrestler and be called a new champion by Howard Finkel. It's the most iconic call in all of fighting. And just like, you're never gonna get another one. You had Howard Finkel, you're never gonna get another one. That's it.
I believe it was Howard Finkel calling the main event of WrestleMania 20. I'm pretty sure that was him. So again, I feel like he's been so prolific that, again, I was there for WrestleMania 20, but I feel like he's been so prolific that at so many different shows, if you went during a certain era to a certain show in a certain era, you would hear Howard Finkel real easy. I think he was actually at a couple of Monday Night Raws that you and I went to full back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just even remember hearing that voice. He's got a classic voice that I remember seeing on like old tapes and all that, and on TV. When I was listening to his voice, I remember thinking, like, I feel like I'm listening to living history. Like, he just has that kind of a voice. And I don't know, you just see, and when I think of Howard Finkel, I'm always going to think of, honestly, his appearance on, do you remember Legends House? It was that show that appeared right when the network first launched.
Yeah.
He just seemed like such an eager, excited kid. Like he loved what he did. It was talking about like, oh, he used to be made fun of a lot. He used to get picked on, but now look at me. Look at what I get to do. I'm considered one of the best in the world. I'm a legend. And he was so happy just being where he is and doing what he gets to do and having the love and respect of so many people around the world. That hit home in a way I didn't expect. And that is what I'm going to think of whenever I think of Howard Finkel from now on.
And watching and reading Twitter this afternoon when everyone was giving their tributes and all that, and John Morrison tweeted his tribute where he was like, the one thing I remember about the Fink is when he was doing those skits, is when John Morrison was doing the skits with Drew McIntyre, and he was putting Drew McIntyre in like Avatar the movie, the blue skin and whatever, and was putting it on Drew McIntyre, and he asked Howard Finkel to do a couple of lines in the skit. And within 2 hours, he had sent him a video with the lines done, and Morrison still has no idea where he got the helmet from so quick. That's it. Because he had the helmet on.
Yeah.
And it's like that immediately made me want to go back and watch the skit. So it's like Howard Finkel was, based on what I'm hearing today, Howard Finkel, if you asked him to do something, he would find a way to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Even if there was no possible way to make it happen, he would do his darndest to try. That's it.
I'll tell you what, that's his work ethic and heart just shone through in everything that he did. And Fink, I hope you can hear us for all you've done for us and something that we love so deeply. Almost as much as you, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you, Howard Finkel. Godspeed. And with that, it brings us to the end of our show today. But now we turn it over to you, our less risk.
You got that?
People who can talk very, very more gooder than I can. We're turning it over to you. What do you think of these releases? Where's everyone going to go? What's some great memories you've got of Howard Finkel? Whatever it is, let us know all across the internet, all across social media, these comments of this video right now. Or you can just join the conversation on Twitter like you always do, like we always do. Follow us all across Twitter, starting with @ScholarsOW for all the latest episode uploads. New episodes every single week. Or you can also follow us on our personal Twitter accounts. Fool, where can I reach you?
You can reach me, the only champion currently on the Scholars of Wrestling show, @The Avatar.
And Brian, where can I reach you?
Don't be so sad that you lost the titles hard. We called it. We called it hard. All three of us were just telling you. It's like, yeah, you were guaranteed not walking out as the champion. And guess what?
Brian,
We
where
were
can I
right.
reach you?
Keep talking, Tarek. Go ahead.
Hey, am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
Did we tell him?
The only problem is the only reason you hold that title is because we can't have get-togethers to defend the party championship. So you have
until those times,
no matter
the championship
you
is going to.
that, and I'll be over here yelling about it at Atomic Beanpole.
More like crying about it.
Oh, the trash talk. I love it. And you can find me at I'm Robbie Rage, just dodging gunfire.
It's okay because we all have one thing in common. Okay, we want Scholar Charlie nowhere near any of these titles. So
Tarek. Shots fired. Yeah, shots fired. Shots fired.
That's your rivalry. That's your rivalry with Charlie.
No, it's not my rivalry because you have to face him for the title when it comes up next. So it's up to you to keep him away.
There's never-ending drama on this show because let's face it, you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome. See you all next week for more shenanigans and trash talk, presumably.